You'll never guess the biggest threat to your company. It's not your competitors, it's not the economy, it's the customers quietly walking out the back door. We found a way to predict who was about to leave and save 400 million a year because of it. This isn't some abstract theoretical case study. This is a real story about how we went from facing a record-breaking loss of customers to plugging a multi-million-dollar hole in our revenue. I'm going to walk you through every single step. From the initial panic when we realized how much money we were bleeding, to our first failed attempts that almost got the project shut down, and finally, to the breakthrough moment that changed not just our bottom line, but our entire company culture. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how you can apply these same principles, whether you're a data scientist or a business owner. I work for a company in the employee benefits space. In my country, there are laws that give companies tax breaks for providing benefits to their employees, so it's a big, established market. For years, things were stable. But then, new players started entering the scene. Suddenly, we were seeing a record-breaking number of customers leaving us. It got so bad that customer churn, which is just a business term for losing customers, became a top-level corporate goal. The alarm bells were ringing all the way to the top. That's when the commercial planning team knocked on our door, the data science team, and basically said, "We have a huge problem and we need your help." The first thing we needed to do was understand the scale of the damage. The number we eventually landed on is staggering, 400 million. Now you might think that's the total amount of money we were losing. It's not. That number is actually much bigger. The 400 million figure is just the amount of avoided loss we could confidently measure from the customers our model identified and our sales team successfully retained. The true impact is likely far greater. The way our planning team calculated this is brutal but honest. They do it by vintages. If a client leaves in January, they multiply that client's average monthly revenue by 12 because we've lost them for the entire year. If they leave in March, we've lost 10 months of revenue, so we multiply by 10, and so on. When you start adding that up across thousands of customers, the number gets terrifyingly large very quickly. We weren't just losing clients, we were hemorrhaging future revenue. This was a fire that needed to be put out immediately. Before we could build anything, we had to understand the why. This was harder than it sounds. A lot of customers just vanish. They stop answering calls, they stop responding to emails, they just ghost you. So, we had to work with a smaller sample of customers who actually agreed to answer a survey and tell us why they left. The reasons were all over the place. Competitors, new companies were popping up, offering lower fees, slicker apps with a better user experience, or other services bundled in. Our own failings, some customers left because of our poor relationship with them. They had technical problems with our ordering system or felt their complaints weren't being heard. Shifting market, a portion of clients were starting to question the value of benefits altogether and were opting to just give their employees the cash instead. We had a complex problem on our hands. It wasn't one single issue we could fix. The reasons for leaving were a mix of price, product, service, and market trends. With some idea of the problem, we formed our first hypothesis. It seemed logical, almost obvious. Our first idea was that customers whose monthly spending started to fluctuate or drop were at high risk of leaving. It made perfect sense, right? If a company starts spending less on benefits, something must be wrong. We built a preliminary model based on this, and at first glance, it seemed to work. It flagged clients whose revenue was dropping. But when we took this to the sales team, we hit our first wall. They told us that by the time a client's revenue drops, their decision to leave has already been made. We could still try to act, maybe offer them a discount or a new deal, but we were already on the back foot. We were reacting to a problem, not preventing it. We needed to get ahead of the decision itself. This approach was too little, too late. We went back to the drawing board. It was clear that looking at billing data alone wasn't enough. It was a lagging indicator. We needed a leading indicator. This led us to our second major hypothesis. Clients with a healthy relationship are more likely to stay. This was a much more complex idea. What does a healthy relationship even mean in terms of data? We decided to break it down into three key dimensions. 1. Relationship and service quality. How was their actual experience with us? We started looking at data from customer support. How many times have they called? What were their satisfaction scores on surveys? 2. Product usage. Are they actively using our system, or are they constantly reporting bugs and system failures? We looked at how often they logged in and the number of technical support tickets they opened. 3. Value realization. This was the most important one. Are the client's employees actually using our benefit cards? And what about our extra services, the value-added services, or SVAs we offer? Are they using those? If a client's employees don't see value in our product, the client won't see value in paying for it. This was a fundamental shift. We moved from looking at what customers were paying to what they were doing. Now we had a stronger hypothesis. It was time to build the actual model. For the tech-inclined folks, the algorithm we used was LightGBM. All you really need to know is that it's a type of machine learning algorithm that is incredibly fast and efficient at making predictions based on tabular data, which is exactly what we had. It's a powerful tool, but a tool is only as good as the person using it. The real magic was in the next step. The most important part of any machine learning project is feature engineering. That's a fancy term for choosing the right data to feed into your model. Garbage in, garbage out. Our first real model started by separating clients into different groups based on their size. Large enterprise clients behave very differently from small and medium-sized businesses. Big companies often have contracts with huge penalties for leaving, so they won't churn without a very good reason. Smaller clients, on the other hand, might come and go throughout the year, which is normal behavior and makes them harder to model. For this first version, we fed the model all the financial variables we had: monthly revenue, quarterly revenue, semi-annual revenue, rates of change in that revenue, the products they'd contracted, and so on. We built the model, we ran the numbers, and we scheduled a meeting with the commercial team. We were proud. We walked in with a list of clients our model had flagged as high risk. The reaction was not what we expected. The head of sales looked at the list, sighed, and said something that every data scientist dreads hearing. We already knew about these. He explained that our model, with its heavy focus on billing data, was only identifying clients who were already in the process of leaving. These were accounts the sales team had been fighting to save for weeks, often unsuccessfully. Our model was accurate, but it wasn't actionable. It was like a weather report that tells you it's currently raining. Thanks, I know. I'm already wet. It was a complete failure, not in its technical accuracy, but in its business utility. The mood in that room was grim. We had failed to give them a tool that could help them look into the future. We had just given them a mirror to look at the past. That failure was the best thing that could have happened to us. It forced us to realize that we weren't trying to predict churn. We were trying to predict this intent to churn. We went back to our second hypothesis, the one about relationship health, and rebuilt the model from the ground up. We threw in a whole new set of features, variables that painted a picture of the customer's actual experience: number of calls to the support center, average time it took for them to place an order, number of support tickets opened for system failures, the density of our card's acceptance network within a radius of the company's office, usage of our value-added services, the percentage of their employees actively using the benefits card. This new set of variables completely changed the game. The list of at-risk clients it produced was much, much better. When we showed it to the commercial team, they started nodding their heads. These were clients that weren't on their radar yet, but the flags made sense. We were finally predicting the future, not just describing the past. We had a better model, a much better model, but that led to our next and perhaps biggest challenge. The new model had a recall of 75%. In simple terms, that means that for every 100 clients who eventually left us, our model successfully flagged 75 of them beforehand. That's pretty good, but its precision was only 20%. This meant that to find 20 at-risk clients, the sales team would have to contact 100 clients that the model flagged. 80 of those calls would be to perfectly happy customers. The sales team was, understandably, hesitant. Their fear was, you want me to call a happy customer who has no issues and ask them if they're thinking of leaving? Based on what? Because a black box algorithm told me to? I'll just be creating problems where none exist. This was a crisis of trust. The model was a black box. It spit out a name, but it didn't provide the why. And without the why, the information was still not truly actionable. This is where we learned the most important lesson of the entire project. The solution wasn't to build an even more accurate model. The solution was to build a better process around the model. We realized the model on its own wouldn't solve anything. We needed to create personalized retention journeys for each type of client, integrating the model's alerts seamlessly into the daily routines of the people who would use them. For large clients, we integrated the model's alerts directly into the sales team's CRM platform, the software they use every single day. Now, an alert would pop up in their regular workflow. It gave the sales consultant a reason to visit a client and help them prepare for that visit. We also captured data from the CRM, so we could track which clients were visited and whether the risk was real, closing the feedback loop. For medium-sized clients, we knew the main sales team couldn't call all of these leads, so we set up a dedicated team at our call center. They were given a prioritized list of at-risk clients to call each month, not with a sales pitch, but with a simple check-in to probe for any discomfort and uncover potential issues early. For small clients, for our smallest customers, we couldn't justify manual calls. So, we created an automated email campaign. The system would send them helpful reminders and information to reinforce the value of their benefits program, nudging them back toward engagement. To actually retain the clients who were confirmed to be at risk, especially the large ones, we armed the sales team with a playbook. They could offer things like new value-added services in exchange for a 12-month contract renewal, a reduction in fees, or a dedicated high-touch support contact. So, what were the results of all this work? As I mentioned, we were able to calculate an avoided loss of 400 million annually. This was based on the clients that were flagged by the model, contacted by one of our teams, and then successfully retained or locked into a new contract. And we know this number is an underestimate because we're sure the sales consultants don't log every single retention action they take. To put that number in perspective, that's 400 million represents 4% of the company's entire annual revenue. It was a massive, game-changing success, but the impact went far beyond just the money. The success of this project created a ripple effect across the entire organization. Trust in AI, we gained immense confidence to apply AI to other critical business problems. The rise of generative AI. It inspired us to use generative AI to transcribe and summarize support calls, automatically identifying points of friction and areas for improvement in our service. Solving the black box problem, we also used generative AI to create a chatbot for our sales consultants. This was the final piece of the puzzle. Before visiting a client, a consultant could now ask the chatbot, "Why is this client flagged as a churn risk?" The bot would analyze the data and provide a simple, human-readable summary. This client is at risk because their card usage has dropped 30% in the last 2 months and they have opened 2 technical support tickets regarding our ordering system. It finally gave them the why. This was the moment everything clicked. The model became a trusted partner instead of a mysterious black box because it was embedded in a process that made sense to the people using it. This project became a watershed moment for the company. It was the first time we could clearly and directly show the massive financial impact of a predictive model on the company's bottom line. AI went from being seen as an experimental toy in the tech department to a core part of strategic discussions in the boardroom. It also served as a blueprint for other projects. We started applying the same predictive logic to other areas, like forecasting the risk of fraud or payment defaults. On a personal level, this project taught me that a high-impact machine learning model has very little to do with having the most accurate algorithm. It's about 3 things: timing, integration, and empathy. The model only became successful when we truly understood the daily routine of the sales consultant and integrated our tool into their workflow in a way that felt natural and helpful. It taught me that showing tangible value with data is the single best way to earn the trust and freedom you need to innovate. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video.